Hi, and welcome to the Gravitude Chat Series that I'm just launching today. I'm really excited to bring this topic to kind of the space that we're in right now, this collective space of addressing the pandemic, but also just like how we're all navigating through our lives, because besides COVID-19, we all have our lives to be able to balance family, work, kids, etc. We're all trying to figure it out. And I think it's very rare that we have an occasion to talk about what we're going through. And a lot of times we just end up hearing about the victory at the end. Oh, I went through this hardship. But now, things are great and I'm on top of the world. But we never really get to talk about how someone got there and what that looks like. And I feel like right now, more than ever, it's so important to share our stories, so that we can celebrate the small victories together, so that we can support each other, so that we know that we are not alone when we're facing all these challenges that a lot of us are going through separately, but kind of together at the same time. And so today I am so excited and so grateful to introduce Amy Zhou. She's been a friend of mine for several years. I know her personally, and I know the struggles in her journey that she's overcome. And she's someone right now that's kind of at the front battle line. She's a nurse anesthetist, which is the hardest word, as she knows, for me to say in the whole world. But it's just really kind of her courage and bravery and the way that she's navigating this portion of her life, that really made me inspired to share her story with everyone. And so, Amy, thank you for joining us today. I'm so happy to have you.
Well, thank
Um,
you for asking me.
yeah, and I think your story right now is just so relevant, because we want to know what it's like to be you and how you're managing all the stresses of what you do, your commitment to your patients, but also your love and your fierce, protection for your family, and the wellness around your family, because I know also your husband is in the medical industry as well, and so both of you are kind of going through this and and trying to figure it out along the way, I'm assuming. So what's it been like for you?
Um, every day is different because we're learning so many different things. Uh, our uh, staff, the higher ups, are having meetings daily and hourly, it seems like. So something new is coming out. We're changing the way that we protect ourselves. And so as we learn from other countries, which, is devastating in itself, because you see so many people that are so ill, but you also have the social media that plays a big part of it. And I think, in all honesty, it is very scary, but listening to social media, the political part of it, and everything combined makes it even worse. And so we have patients coming in, and normally that they wouldn't come in for just the common cough or the signs and symptoms of the actual flu. Now they're extremely scared that they're going to die. And at the beginning, we were seeing just a ton of older population, many comorbidities, but a lot of them, we say all these deaths, but we don't mention all the comorbidities and the age of the patient. And now they're starting to talk about that. And this particular virus is very pulmonary or lung dependent. So if you've had any asthma, you're a smoker, anything, it's really quite devastating on what it's doing to those people. And if you're in a nursing home and you're already of, you're ill and you're not moving, I mean, it's going to attack, and that's your ultimate demise. And that's sad talking about that. But I think now that we're starting to see the true outbreak and the actual numbers, and they're giving us the resources to check people, but I don't know necessarily whether or not we should be checking everybody. Um, if that would cause more chaos, because as of right now, you see what's going on all across the world, and it's just making more and more people panicked. And I think, and I shared this with you earlier, it is just taking everything. every I don't like to cry often, but it's just scary, because it's my whole passion is to help people. I love giving anesthesia, but it's scary because my job, amongst like a bronchoscopy, is the highest risk thing that we're doing. If I'm putting a patient to sleep and they could be potential silent carriers, or if they already have it, I could potentially get it, or hopefully I've already had it, because I was sick, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and my kids got it a fever a few weeks ago. So it's just so scary going to work when I used to be so happy
Yeah.
going to work.
And I know that about you. I'm so sorry that you have to process so much. I can imagine that the weight of it all just must be crushing at times.
Yeah, it's killing everybody's spirit. It's everybody is on edge. They're super anxious. They're
Yeah.
um, like people that you would normally talk to in close proximity. You, I hug every person I see. I love being around people, and this is slowly like just draining me.
Yeah.
When I can't like do my normal outlet, I CrossFit. And I think the hardest part too was them closing our gym, and that's my main outlet. I don't like to bring work home, especially since I have two little girls, and I find myself more and more impatient, snapping at people. It just, and you're just trying your best to make sure that you're taking care of everybody, but trying to take care of yourself is just
It's a lot.
difficult.
But and I think the key thing that you just said, Amy, is trying your best. And nobody knows the right way to do this. Nobody knows the right way to show up, and all that we can do is just take it day by day and do our best. And I
Yeah.
think that's what you're doing. And so I know that you can't access the CrossFit gym, but what are some other tools that you're using? Because I know that you are someone who has a history of grit. And I really kind of think grit is that mental tenacity, that fierceness, that perseverance to get through some stuff. And you
Yeah.
have that. And so, what are some tools that you're falling back on to be able to push through?
Well, fortunately, you know, I still run, and I'm thankful for my overall health, that I can still stay sane. And I do a lot of my gym workouts at 4 in the morning, before the girls get up, before I have to go to work. And so I really try to just get focused as I would any other day. And I have to work out every day. There's some days that I've been working out two times a day just to decompress so that I can be here for the girls, because I think that's the hardest part too, because they don't understand, and they're always used to a schedule of, okay, we're going to go to school and we're going to do a little homework and we get to go swimming and we can do our gymnastics and we do all these things. But now that you take that away, and now you've got people who normally are away from one another for 8 to 10 hours a day are now together 24 hours a day, and that takes a toll. And just trying to find things to keep them busy and occupied, and if they do have questions, try to explain it to them, just, we're trying to keep you safe because people are getting sick, and it's hard to tell children because you know they just don't understand quite yet. And
Yeah, for
the
sure.
constant of washing hands when kids' hands are always all over their face. And
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very interesting concept, I think, for the kids. And I know that everybody who has kids are, everyone's in the same sort of boat, is how to keep your own sanity
yeah,
while kind of managing and sort of and making sure they feel safe. I mean, I guess that whole thing of trying to make things normal doesn't really make sense right now because there's not a whole lot of normal. And
yeah,
so I think once I switch my perspective from how do I make this normal to kind of how do I make them feel safe? Or,
yeah,
how do I show up today? It's a new day, and make it seem like we're still kind of being productive in whatever sense that may mean. That may
yeah,
mean um, in our disposition. It could mean in tasks. I mean, just whatever that means to feel productive, I think has been a really kind of healthy perspective for us. And so I know that it really changes the way that we kind of engage with our family and our kids without having all the external activities and resources. So have you been surprised in how the time that you've been able to spend with your family has changed a little?
I think if we're going to look, I think we should look at positives, because you don't get this time
For sure.
to actually enjoy their youth, the things that they do on a daily, just getting down on the floor and playing games and putting on makeup and, oh my gosh, baking cookies up the wazoo. Like, I have to go running. Jesus Mary. Um,
Yeah.
but I think also the kids are taking away their parents are present. I don't look at my phone because, first and foremost, I don't want to see all that, negativity out there. And right now there's just so much of it. And I wish that we had the unity of, you know, a good leader. And right now I feel it's making people more scared, and I don't think people really understand the real realm of this. We're shutting down the world where, you know, thankfully, I have a job, and it is super scary, but I have to be thankful for that because my neighbors don't.
Mhm.
And I live in a very small town, and yeah, I mean, it's not that small from where I grew up, but I mean, 27,000 people, it's still small, and we're built on small business.
Mhm.
We have, every business shut down, and yes, the grocery stores and a few restaurants for takeout, but when you take away somebody's job, then they're not getting income, and they're slowly not able to feed their families. They're
Yeah.
not able to pay their bills. What does that do on a psyche that maybe your psyche was already broken before this happened? So I really wish that we could offer services to and offer, just that overall kindness, and is because right now people are just angry and sad, and I just wish that people could just slow down for a minute and just see some positive, just that little extra that you get to spend with your family. And
Yeah,
if
and I
you
think it helps when, when we are in our lulls, because certainly everybody has experienced some ups and downs. I mean, not as many ups, but some downs through this. And um, I think it takes people like you who have the courage to be vulnerable through it, who
yeah.
say, you know what, I am scared. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling down. To be able to communicate that, and for other people who are a little bit more well in that moment, to have the compassion to say, okay, lean on me. I
Yeah.
got you. I got you right now. Because you know what? Tomorrow I'm probably going to need to lean on you. And
Yeah.
so I totally agree that some kindness can go a long way. And when I've been feeling down, I've been really trying to lean into my gratitude. And I really
Mhm.
feel like gratitude is the antidote to fear. And
Yeah.
gratitude kind of takes us more into the present.
Mhm.
And it reminds us of all the things that we can control.
Mhm.
And gratitude is sometimes, with simple things for us, and in our circumstances, running water, taking a hot shower,
Yeah.
um, just simple things, kind of to your point, that not everybody um, can have the same luxuries during this time, and people's luxuries are definitely being compromised in different ways at this
Mhm.
point. And
Yeah.
so, to the extent that we can really kind of focus on gratitude, on being able to kind of stop the spiral of negativity and look more toward the things that we can really appreciate during that time, I think will really help to manage a lot of the stress.
Yeah. I totally agree. You know, whatever, you believe in, whether it's Christ our Lord or, whatever, I think now is the time to, just take a minute and just really reflect on how you are as a person and how you're going to come out of this,
Mhm.
because it's definitely testing
For
uh,
sure.
everybody.
And
You know,
how do you want to come out of this, Amy?
I want to come out stronger. I want to be able to go back to, actually having a little bit of normalcy, if whatever normalcy you can get out of this, because I think a lot of people are gonna, have a lot of PTSD, some severe depression. They're gonna be scared all the time. Can I go back to just regular going to the movies, going to hang out with a friend, going to have cocktails with your close friends? I mean, everything is going to be different, even if we have a president that says, okay, we got to get back to, you know everything, because the economy is crap. It you can't go back to how it used to be. You still have to be vigilant. You still have to take care of yourself. And if this teaches anything to anyone, it's, just the common wash your hands. And, yes, we say don't touch your face, but you realize you touch your face a whole lot
Mhm.
when when you can't. But, just coming out with trying to just, see the kindness of other people, and other people have struggles, and understand that. And if you can help them, you
Mhm.
know, um, I know it's taken a lot of my spirit. I find myself angry all the time, and I'm not an angry person.
No,
Like,
not.
I try to find the good in everyone, even if they're jerks. Um, and I'm always around people. Like yesterday when somebody was like, I haven't seen you smile in a long time. It angers me that it's come to this. And you're like, holy crap. Like, just a few weeks ago, you know, I was planning a trip to see my sister for spring break. We're going to Tanzania in September. Like, everything's changed now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that, you're right. There's no sort of going back.
Yeah.
It's just kind of it's kind of now, where do we want to move forward?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just,
And
keep the next right thing, the next right step. And I totally agree with you. It's not like you to for your spirit to be broken. But the thing that I know about you and the thing that I know about people is that we are resilient, and that just because you're broken, it doesn't mean that you don't have an opportunity to put those pieces back together in a different way that is kind of like a new version of you.
yeah.
And really, when you're broken, it's an opportunity for things to change, and that change doesn't have to be a bad thing. And it's an opportunity to reinvent yourself and to get your bearings about the stuff that you know,
Yeah.
lean on the things that you know, your faith, your gratitude, your family, all those things. And it's an opportunity to rebuild yourself and be stronger and more badass than ever before. And I know this for you. And I also know this for the majority of people who are willing to do the work. But it's not easy
No.
for one, to admit that you're broken, and for two, to know how to put those pieces back together. But I think that there are people out there that you can use in your arsenal, like me, who will remind you of these things, who will support you and believe in you. And I think that what you're doing is brave, um, in your job, and kind of how you're living your life right now, and also just the time that you've taken to be real and totally stripped down, is really admirable. And I think that a lot of people will be able to look at this and see themselves in your tears, and see themselves in your worries and in your heartache. And for that, I think you're an inspiration. Yeah. I know one day things are going to change. One day we're going to look at this, and it's going to be a time that really defined our world, really. And we have the opportunity to decide what that outcome looks like for us individually. How do you want to show up in your own life? How do you want to use all this to be able to rebuild yourself again? And what kind of lessons do you want to learn from this that will be able to really enhance your character, and how you're living your life and the things that we're paying attention to? Is there anything that you want us to know with being someone who is doing surgeries now and having a husband who is also a physician. How can we help you and others who are in your role to support you?
I think what people need to do is, to just help themselves and keeping their family safe is just try to really minimize the time that you are out. Yes, like I am one. I have to get out of the house. Whether it be, going around the block, but really try to minimize, the big social gatherings, and because we're starting to see it, these people who uh, the younger population who don't think that it's going to touch them, that they're invincible, and that this could never happen because they think that they're healthy. You know, you can be young and healthy, but we all know that young, healthy people still try things. They vape, they do this, they do that. Just try to keep yourself as healthy as possible and don't do stupid things. Try to keep yourself as healthy as you can and try to minimize, social gatherings, and be vigilant and washing your hands. I can't stress that enough. And because we're seeing now that it's getting younger and younger, and I just I'm just hoping that with this social distancing, it does uh, put a little dent in it and kind of smoothing out that curve. But if we don't, if we're not all in this together for a short time, we're not going to have a lifetime.
Right. And I think that's it, is that it's the reminder we're all in this together.
Yeah.
We all have to do our part. And I feel like being a part of the collective gives me more encouragement along the way, knowing that I'm not just doing it for me and my immediate family. I'm doing it for kind of humanity,
Humanity. Yeah.
right?
It,
And for the first time in the world, we're all faced with the same issue that we're
yeah.
all trying to fight together.
Yeah. And I don't think that people really realized the overall I can't even think of the word that I want to say, but it's touched every part of the world. And I think it really teaches those lessons to, just slow down and just take this moment and this time with your family and cherish it, because as much as we didn't want this, or we want to keep everybody healthy and safe, I think we needed to slow down
Yeah.
and just enjoy what you do have, because not everybody gets to, like you said, have running water and a TV to still watch, and all of the luxuries that you took for granted. You really need to see what you really have, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure. And I think during this time, people should be encouraged to feel what they need to feel. And it's
Yeah,
so important for the processing, because it's so much to process, and it's really challenging to know how to do that. I mean, everyone, every day is a little bit different. And it
mhm,
seems like there's so much information that's changing all the time. It's really hard for people to kind of wrap their heads around what's happening, and kind of the trajectory that we're going in. And it's just a lot to take in. But I
yeah,
think if one thing we can focus on, um, if there's one thing, it's what you said, it's to slow down. And that's something we've been forced to do.
yeah,
And while we're slowing down, take notice of things a little bit more.
yeah,
you know be able to to take in little moments and be in the present moment more and more and more. And the more and more and more that we're able to be in the present moment and to be in it fully, I think that that will create ripple effects. The ripple
Yeah.
effects of gratitude and being in the present moment, and the love that kind of resonates from gratitude, those have ripple effects too. It's not just fear that has ripple effects. And so, to the extent that we're able to kind of redirect our thinking whenever possible, I think it's going to be critical. And it's so important now than ever, you know, that people are able to talk to somebody, like you said. And I'm glad that you mentioned that people should be encouraged to talk to someone if they need to, and
Yeah.
to get the support if they need to, because everybody is dealing with it, and nobody should have to feel like they're going through this on their own.
Yeah.
And that
And
includes you.
yeah, I mean, we try to stay brave for everybody, but I mean, if you don't stay healthy yourself, you're not helping anybody, you know.
Right.
I have to learn to, you know, express my feelings, because if I don't, I bottle it up, and then I'm just a ticking time bomb. You know, you have to have an outlet, and you have to talk about it, because everybody's going through it. It's not, you know, yes, we have different feelings about it, but we're all going through it. And you know, I'm very thankful that my home situation is safe and I feel loved. You know, maybe your neighbor doesn't, you know, and I pray for all of them, that, because it's hard to be in one confined space, even if you have a lot of space, seeing that same mug doing that same ridiculous thing, you
Yeah,
know, can wear on people. And so it's, you know, just be thankful that, you know, you're still healthy. And so
I agree. Thank you so much, Amy,
yeah.
for your time. I know today's your day off. You've been working like crazy, and I know that you have a lot to do. But I'm so happy that you're willing to share your story, and I really do think that people will find solace and inspiration in your bravery. And so I just really thank you, and I wish you wellness, and you know, I'm sending love your way, and really, hopefully, really good energy, and all that. I hope you can feel it.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me and thinking about me. Thank you.
Of course, and I will continue. And I'm sure whoever watches this will be thinking of you too. All
All right.
right, let's be in touch.
All right,
All
take
right,
care.
bye, Amy.
All right, bye.